Erev Tov, Chavrim. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Want to just play real quick again, guys, the image of this particular bomb. It was indeed a bunker buster that struck in Syria last night, and I am very concerned this is only the beginning. Let's watch it once again. You can see in the background there the cloud actually mushroomed. The bomb that was actually that went off there. Now, what's troubling is the man that took the video must have known this was going to happen from the beginning. Look right there. This is where you can see the up proportion, the I don't know what you call it, a jet stream or whatever you want to call it. But the bomb has actually gone into the ground and exploded. That is the way a bunker buster does. Now, here's what's troubling is this is actually our 11 o'clock broadcast. Guys, I apologize for those of you that are just finding out we're going on early tonight, but it is extremely serious what's happening. Let me share with you why. I-24 News here reported today that 9 ballistic missiles were fired from U.S. British bases in Jordan overnight, targeting military positions in Hama, Aleppo, Syrian media reported. So it is the United States that has gotten involved, the British as well. This is about to escalate into an all-out war in the region. Now, their target is Iran. Although they are targeting Syrian forces as well, they are targeting Iranian positions inside of Syria. The U.S., the British, and even Israel is trying to drag Iran into a war. And this is the time they're doing it because the U.S. dollar is being given up for other currencies. It is challenging the global dominance of the U.S. dollar. This on here on Chadashot Ashar, which is the Ashar, the Ashar News Channel, Channel 10 in Israel, is also reporting here that Prime Minister Netanyahu is claiming now that the Iranians had nuclear weapons, or not so much nuclear weapons, but a nuclear program violating the agreements that were being brought out in this plan by Barack Hussein Obama. I have to tell you, friends, I respect a country that believes it has its right to defend itself, but you just can't help but wonder if this is not fabrication. We have here on RT, U.S.-Saudi partnership aims to trigger instability and war in region. This is coming from Tehran. They say here, provoked by harsh anti-Iran statements from U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Iran's foreign ministry accused the U.S.-Saudi partnership of triggering instability and war in the region. Fierce criticism followed Pompeo's hawkish comments regarding Tehran's foreign policy. During his whirlwind Middle East tour, the ex-CIA chief claimed that Iran destabilizes his entire region and exploits its influence in Yemen and Syria. His accusations, however, were not left unanswered. What the U.S. Secretary of State describes as Washington's partnership with Saudi Arabia is a partnership aimed at triggering instability and war, as well as promoting arms races and extremism. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Bahram Qasemi said in a speech on Monday. I'm just telling you, guys, I hate to say it, but I believe a war is being provoked. Prime Minister Netanyahu also to give a speech. He is already declaring now publicly, shows slide shelves of docs claiming Iran has nuclear weapons program. Whether or not it's true or not, I mean, who's to know? Who's to know? But the point is, we've been watching this coming. Russia being there in the Middle East as well, it's only a matter of time before something's going to explode. This is no longer a situation where, like we had with the French, the US, and the British forces that did their strike in Syria, where over 100 missiles were fired in, 71 of those missiles were shot down. Now they're claiming 9 were shot in from Jordan, the country of Jordan, which, by the way, let me just, for those of you that'd like to know something on this on biblical, I realize we're dealing with a breaking news story here right now of what's going on, but let me just show you something. Jordan is also going to be destroyed. It is a biblical prophecy, and many people have no idea that Jordan will be destroyed. And I can't remember if it's Ammon or Ammon or, geez, let me just see if we even have Jordan as the name. I don't think it's listed as Jordan. No, so I'll never get it that way. I'll have to come back to it later for you guys and pull it up. I've spoke about this time and time again, that the country of Jordan will also be destroyed in a war coming in the very near future in the Middle East there. And I felt like that I could see that as an issue as well from all the buildup that was happening inside of Syria to begin with. There is a major buildup, a major escalation of troops inside of Jordan. Also, the U.S. having the base at Al Tanf just across the border. We have the Germans down there. We have, and which was kind of interesting. Angela Merkel was trying to stay out of the conflict when the U.S., British, and the French went down with this attack here. This was only a trial. This was only to see what the Russian forces had inside of Syria. What I find interesting is that when Mike Pompeo visited Israel, they realized Russia moving an S-300 missile defense system into Syria would be a game changer. And I believe that the decision, even if it meant fabricating the evidence to go after Iran, was to be done now before the S-300 system could be deployed inside of Syria. That would now put Russia into a predicament to choose a side. Either they will stand down and allow the US and the NATO forces to obliterate this entire Middle Eastern section, which will obliterate the Syrian people, as well as the Iranians inside of Syria, which they will begin to do as they did last night. That was only a test. I think they're doing this to try to provoke Iran into retaliation. If Iran will retaliate, then Israel will not hold back, not even an iota. Hezbollah will begin to rain down their rockets. Israel and the United States will try to stay the tide with all the rockets coming in, but at the same time, they will be overwhelming Hezbollah. They will be overwhelming Syria. They will be overwhelming Iran with their own counter rocket systems coming in. Don't forget, it was General Wesley Clark that included Lebanon as one of the nations they wanted to bring down. So Lebanon is going to come down. Hezbollah is there. They want to bring Lebanon down as well. They are going to clear out the entire Middle Eastern section in order to do this. They're going to take out Syria. They're going to take down Damascus. They're going to take down Lebanon. They're going to take down Iran. As I read to you last night from Daniel's prophecy of chapter 11, tidings out of the east and out of the north greatly trouble him. And he goes forth to make away many. That's the king of the south and the king of the north working together. The NATO forces along with an Israeli military force. I would really like to know how many Israelis are really for this war. How many Israelis really believe that this is the wrong thing to do? That would be interesting to know. really just to know, without skewed polls, how many people in Israel really that have actually come to see the coming of the Messiah, but instead have come to a country that is bent on war? And what will the Israeli people, what will be the price the Israeli public will pay for an instigation of war in the Middle East? And you know, guys, let me tell you something. The Christian community, the evangelical community, you have been played by a lot of people out there trying to trump everybody up for war. They built up President Trump as if he's some kind of savior for the Middle East. How many thousands of lives, tens of thousands, even millions of people will die as a result? And for what reason? You know, it's a very serious situation. You know, I saw a Murad Gazdiev, and Murad is a friend of ours. Let me just share something with you. He made a comment on his Twitter page. It kind of startled me in a way because Murad is he's talking about the actual deal. He's an RT reporter, and you guys would know him by his face if you see his face here. I don't know how well it shows up on his page here. He said, but Trump just now backstabbed Iran, and tearing apart the nuke disarmament deal will be a positive signal for North Korea, which said it's open to deal to disarm. And then he makes the comment here, if aliens indeed watching Earth, they now have solid, incontrovertible proof that humanity is stupid. I bet they are watching these fallen demons. You know, by the way, I know I get a lot of people that come back and they say, you know, Steve, when you talk about these Nephilim being on the earth today, they say, you know, that no, they were ended at the flood. There's no such thing anymore. Let me just show you something. Rephaim, I think that's how you guys spell that here in the English Bible there. Okay, you got Repha. Oh no, I'm sorry, the word giants. If you look at the word giants, and all you got to do, just go over here to say like Exodus or Joshua where he's faced with them. In that case, it's Rephaim. Hang on, not all of them are going to be the same. Let me just find the ones that are not. Got to get the right place here. Here we go, right here. There were giants in the earth, the Nephal. No, I don't know how to actually be able to trace this out. You will find that the word Nephilim is used during the time of David, is what I'm trying to get at. But I don't know how to trace this down where I can actually show you all the verses where that's at. I'm not very familiar with this particular program here. But yes, the Nephilim are very much realistic and on the earth even after the antediluvian destruction. I'll look for that up later and bring that back to you guys and discuss it more. Not only do we have what all is happening here, but there's also another thing going on, and this is concerning as well. Return to the migrant crisis, Greece overwhelmed as illegals surge across Turkish land border. Our good friend Renze from the Netherlands sent this article here to me. He says, in April alone, almost 3,000 illegal migrants penetrated Greece's island border by crossing the Ivros River in East Thrace, Turkey's last remaining foothold on the European mainland. I think it's going to work hand in hand. The migrant crisis is not just a crisis. I think it's also going to be used to be able to topple the Middle East, topple the European Union, to force the European Union to a new world order. All right, it's a very serious situation that we're dealing with here, friends, right now. And the migrant crisis will be used for that very purpose in the near future. You have to remember, Rome was using the Arabic world to do its wars back when it wanted to crush the true Christians. And I have a feeling it's going to be used once again. But just recapping real quick, for those of you that have come in here a little bit late, you guys saw this. We reported this last night, actually, as it was happening. The bombs that were falling on Syria and Aleppo, it was a bunker buster. Those bombs that have fallen, this, by the way, we are early in our reporting tonight. We normally come on at 5 p.m. Eastern in America, 12 midnight Israeli time. But because of the need for this, and by the way, if you can hear this guy in here, one, he knows it's coming. He's got the camera rolling. He's not saying nothing, but you can hear him. Let's see if you can hear it. He starts to laugh, is what he's doing. This guy knew to film this so it could go viral on the internet, and it did. So whoever posted this video originally, and not David Andrews by no means, but whoever was the original poster of this, and I think we actually had the original guy when we first viewed it with you guys on last night's live broadcast, because we were just minutes after this actually struck. Those of you that, I know we have over 2,000 here live tonight. By the way, when we were live last night, we were breaking the story before anyone in mainstream media was breaking this. So we had only about a 600 audience last night, but it's important that people are there. Again, though, let's recap it once again. Those missiles, 9 ballistic missiles, were fired from the U.S. British bases in Jordan overnight. This is according to the Syrian media reports here that are coming out against Hamas and Aleppo. It does look like, this is on Chadashot Ashad, Channel 10 News in Israel, Yom Damaot, and he is saying here that what is going on is that the Prime Minister Netanyahu is challenging that the Iranian government has been working all along to try to attain nuclear weapons. All right, and also in saying this here, we have been looking as well at Prime Minister Netanyahu. He has come out publicly. He is stating that the Iranians have nuclear bombs. He said he is, I got a tweet from him today that I saw there because I'm subscribed on his channel there. He is sending a detailed report to the Germans to get them involved in this. And Mike Pompeo, his speech that was there in Israel, he was just in Israel. Some were saying already that this was a message being sent to the Russians and Syrians. And I guess the message is, you get involved in the war we're going to do with Iran and you will suffer the same consequences. I think that's exactly what they want, because General Wesley Clark spilled the beans on them that the Pentagon had planned on taking down all those nations, and that included Syria and Lebanon. And no doubt Hezbollah will join in to doing an attack on Israel. And the ones that will pay the price will be the Israeli people, and as well as the Syrians, the innocent Syrian civilians and Syrian military will also pay a heavy price, as well as Israeli military. Why? Because leaders that are doing everything they can, not just, the issue is not to take down Iran. The issue is to keep the American dollar powerful when all the other countries are dumping the American dollar. This is why they're doing the war. This is also because it's a new world order. Jerusalem has to be toppled to a place where the Vatican can take control. They want the United States and Russia to go to war as well, because they want to break nationalism. So that just goes to show whether or not Trump knows what he's doing or not is beside the point. The people are stupid enough to fall for this and to back this type of war. And as I said before at the beginning of this broadcast, that unfortunately the evangelical community has been duped by so many of these people that are out there trumpeting to do wars in the Middle East, and yet you're supposed to be following Jesus Christ that was a man of peace. And the only time he comes back, according to Enoch, with 10,000 of his saints, that's written in the book of Jude, was to do away with what? An infiltration of Nephilim genealogy in the churches today. Well, let me tell you something. You know, has anybody got any brains at all that remembers what the Nephilim did during the times of Enoch when he was on the earth? They taught the art of war. They were killing the children on the earth until their blood was crying out unto God like that of Abel, that this was happening, and God came down and did something about it. And so do you think that the warmongering to the Middle East is the godly thing to do? I don't think so. I do not think so. You know, let me tell you something. There are some Jewish people in this world that do not want a war in the Middle East and do not want to see what is going on with the Israeli government and what they're trying to do. And so that's why they suppress this channel. That's why they make sure that you don't find out that this is on air. I don't even know how 2,400 of you even made it here today to begin with. But I'm telling you something. It is a tragedy what we're about to see. It will break every biblical command. And as God said in Isaiah chapter 17, you will destroy the fortress of Ephraim. Those Christians that live in Damascus will die as a result of why? Isaiah said in verse 10 of chapter 17, because why? Israel, not just the country of Israel, but all 12 tribes of you that are scattered about amongst the Christian community that are over in Europe, that are over in America, that have backed your presidents and your leaders to go and to do a war in the Middle East. He says, why? You forgot the rock of your salvation, or the God of your salvation. And he says, and you're not mindful of your rock. When he says you're not mindful of your rock, he's talking to the Christian community because they believe Yeshua to be the rock to begin with. When he says you forgot the God of your salvation, he's talking to the country leaders of Israel in the modern state of Israel that are sitting there warmongering to take down these nations. Just like they fabricated all this garbage against President Bashar al-Assad. It is a shame what they have done with Bashar al-Assad. It is a shame what they have done in the Middle East to begin with. They have fabricated all of this garbage. They have gone out and they have said, they have told the world that he gassed his own people when Aaron Erdem, on an MP member of the Turkish government, came out and said the blood of the children of Syria are on the Turkish government's hands. And the proof is over and over and over. But you know what? They don't care. They don't give a flip about what the truth is of what's going on in Syria or any other part of the world. The thing is, the dollar's collapsing, and they're trying to find a way to make sure it can last a little bit longer so they can get this new world order set and as well crush all of nationalism to begin with, to get a war going, not just with Iran, but as well with Russia and the United States. That's exactly where we're headed. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Erev Tov, a little early tonight, guys, but I felt like it was too serious of a situation. Definitely share the video everywhere you can. You know what? Do me a favor. Drive YouTube crazy. Thumbs up the video to such a massive number to where they'll have no choice but to deal with the truth of what's really going on. You know, because the warmongers are out tonight, and Mike Pompeo has pushed the button. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. Get ready. Looks like we have a flashpoint fixing to go on with Bonnie Harvey on Hebrew Nation Radio, talking about the same thing tonight. Flashpoint will be Syria, and that flash has been lit. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Thumbs it up like crazy. Drive them nuts at YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you tomorrow morning, my time, later tonight, your time, if you guys are still up tonight. Shalom.